Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The date is October 18, 2021. The time is now 7:02 p.m. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. Excuse me, hold on one second while I call the roll. Council President Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. We have a public hearing before we start our agenda this evening. The public hearings on ordinance 1061. Public hearing on ordinance 1061 concerning amending Chapter 25, Article 7, Tourism and Advisory Board. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Havre Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre Grace City Charter, for the purpose of amending City Code Chapter 25, Article 7, Tourism Advisory Board. Anyone in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance 1061? Okay, any comments from the council? Okay, with no public comment from the citizens and no comments from the council, I now declare public hearing on ordinance 1061 to be closed. The time is now 7:03. Okay. We will move into the council meeting. We have done the roll call. Please join for the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could kindly ask everybody to remain standing for a few more moments as I call forward Reverend Dr. Lynn Humphreys Russ, Hopewell United Methodist Church. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. Welcome.
As long as I don't ruin that, huh? It is always an honor and privilege. Thank you. Please bow your heads and pray with me. Holy God, these men and women are gathered here tonight, once again called to do the work of governing your city. It is an honorable job you have given them. It's challenging in all times, but in these times of unprecedented change, it is deeply challenging. As they wrestle with the struggles and conflicts, bless them with the understanding of balancing continuity with the imperative to change. Bless them with prudence and flexibility as they work through the thorny issues of governance. Grant them nimbleness of thought and steadfastness of heart when weighing the choices set before them. I pray that your blessings will rain upon these men and women and that they will be in unity with one another and with you as they come to their decisions tonight. In our city, Holy God, we pray to you by many names. Tonight, I pray in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Reverend, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Item 5, approval of the minutes, City Council meeting minutes, October 4, 2021. Council, I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Councilmember Zinner, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Approval of the City Council meeting minutes of October 4th, 2021 are approved, 6-0 in affirmative. Item 6, comments from citizens. As a reminder, we have changed our agenda a little bit. It used to be comments from citizens on agenda items was earlier, and comments from citizens on general business was at the end of the meeting. We have now changed it up where comments from citizens could be about an agenda item or any matter of city business. As usual, what I do first is I call upon citizens who have filled out a speaking form first, and then after that, I'll just call on people at large who wish to speak to the council. First on my form to speak is Chief Scott Hurst. Good evening, Chief Hurst. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Scott Hurst, Chief of the Hose Company, 720 Teal Court, Havre, Grace, Maryland.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me tonight. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I want to speak on the airboat that's on the agenda for tonight, in case there's any questions in reference to the funding. The first thing I want to cover is why we come to you guys for extra funding. The hose company in the state of Havre Grace has a history back to Mayor David Craig, Mayor Wayne Doherty, yourself. We've always had a fantastic working relationship when we need additional funds for certain projects. Goes back to many, many years ago, the mini pumper in 2005, SCBA 5 or 6 years ago, the marine boat a few years ago, and some rescue tools just, I think, last year. So we've always had a really good working relationship. As everybody knows, we're one of the top fire companies in the country. We have a real good knowledge of what's best for the city of Havre Grace, what's best for the citizens, what's best for the safety of the citizens, especially when it comes to the waterfront in Havre Grace and the Susquehanna River and Chesapeake Bay. So we come to you to ask for this money. We've had several calls. In the last year, we've used the Maryland State Police Aviation helicopter 2 times to airlift 2 different scenarios of 2 people each, hunters and boaters. That not only makes it dangerous for them, dangerous for us, but also dangerous for the Maryland State Police helicopter to come in and airlift people out. The topography of Havre Grace has changed a great deal in the last 2 or 3 decades. You could just go down there tomorrow and look at the area of low water around the promenade. It's amazing how things have changed through the channel, out through the bay. The flats are not just the flats sometimes the flats are 6 inches of water. We had a call back in the wintertime in December with 2 hunters. We were trying to get to them. They both had hypothermia. We stuck 4 boats trying to get to them. So we did not have what we needed. A Zodiac boat will not work in situations like this. We do have a county-owned Zodiac boat that they give to us. It will not go in 1 inch of water. It will not go on mud, as was the case on the January Maryland State Police lift that we did. And it will not go on land, obviously. So that being said, we want to be proactive and not reactive. We are being reactive a little bit. But after that call in January, it really got me thinking that we need to do something along the waterfront for a low water vessel, something more than just a Zodiac. Anything could have went wrong with that airlift. Or, like I said, we've done one since then also on the Cecil County side. So we've had about 8 to 12 calls we've used our Zodiac on this year. About half of those calls we couldn't even use the Zodiac on. So we've done our due diligence. In looking at one, we looked at hovercrafts. They aren't large enough. The turning radius is horrible on hovercraft. Sometimes you have to start 100 yards or so away just to get turning to go in. The people you can rescue is limited on a hovercraft. So we looked at airboats also. So we've taken a trip to Bay District Fire Company down in Charles County. Manufacturer sold them a boat called Diamondback Airboats in Florida. We liked what we saw there. We had some input from the Prince George's County Fire Department where I work, from a battalion chief there that is on the special ops team in reference to hovercrafts versus airboats. We went to our airboats instead of hovercrafts in Prince George's County. And then most recently, we took a trip to Kansas. We took a trip to Kansas to Midwest Airboats and to a manufacturer out there. And we left there knowing that's what we wanted to buy, was Midwest Airboats. So we've done our due diligence between Diamondback Manufacturing and Midwest Airboats. And it's a closed cab. It will go on land, air, mud, water, seaweed, everything that we have, the grass that you see down there now, it will do everything that we need it to do. Not only can this thing be used in the Chesapeake Bay and the Susquehanna River, flooding in Havre Grace, we spec this thing out. One of the things I wanted to do, because we provide swift water to the county on county water rescues, but we don't have swift water in Havre Grace. We have standing water in Havre Grace. So, swift water is 1 mile an hour or greater. We don't have that in Havre Grace. All y'all probably seen cars stuck in water on Revolution Street, Juniata Street, all these other places. You saw when Isabel came through, us using boats to evacuate people out from Lafayette Street, Concord Point, all those different areas. This vessel we're buying will be a multifunctional piece that can do all of that for us. So we're really looking at a large thing for Havre Grace that can do numerous things. And I can't think of a better use of money of the slip users tax fees fund than a vessel like this. That's going to save our hunters, our fishermen, recreational people. We all know Havre Grace is growing as a tourism place. The boaters, our boat calls have increased substantially in the last few years. Every weekend we're going out for something. Lots of times during the week we're going out for something. We're rescuing people that unfortunately jump off the bridges. It's becoming a common occurrence in Havre Grace. So with that being said, everybody knows we're getting busier on the waterway. It's busy out there. So I wanted to just give some information on that. The hose company, we really put a lot of thought, and I know a lot of people, I'm not preaching to the choir here. We give a lot of thought of what we need and what we need to do to make the city of Havre Grace better. And I really, not to take a shot at anything or anyone, nobody really knows better what we need than what the Susquehanna Hose Company members do. We're out there doing the life safety things. We know what we need. We know what equipment that we need. And we only come to you when we really need something that's going to affect saving lives in Havre Grace. With that being said, is there any questions for me in reference to this airboat fund?
Any questions, council, for Chief Hurst? Councilmember Martin?
Chief Hurst, one of the things you said is you like the ability of this the boat out of Kansas. What are the capacities and what made you choose to meet your demands?
For Kansas, they could, we really, a lot of these rescues we make, there's hypothermia and hyperthermia. So they're hot or cold. We go through the 12 months of the year, so we wanted to get an enclosed cab. If we pull somebody out in 0-degree weather, we want to have a place that's going to, an enclosed cab boat just like the one that we have now, that we can at least start getting them warm in. So that was a big factor of being able to do an enclosed cab versus a non-enclosed cab. Now, chances are, hopefully, we could take them, put them on the big boat where there's actually heat and everything, but, depending on the situation, we just don't know. The call we had with the two hunters back in December, there was 45-mile-an-hour winds that night. It was very, very cold. They had hypothermia, and it took us hours to get them off of get them out of the flats. So turning radius was a big thing for us. Price was a big thing. The trailer that we're going to have, it's going to have a trailer where it's backed up on, so you can drive the airboat right off of the trailer. It's going to have a little trolling motor on it that we could use. So it's going to be a very extensive training program that we're going to have. An airboat's just not, another boat that you try to operate. Airboat's very, very, very challenging. So all that said, we really preferred the Midwest over the Diamondback. We could have went wrong either way, Councilman Martin, to be honest with you, but we really like the Midwest ones. We reached out to vendors. They showed us what they were building. And Diamondback airboats is more, they do some rescue, but they're also on the panhandle of Florida, so they're doing a lot of Everglades stuff for fishermen and alligator hunters and everything. Midwest Airboats is pretty much strictly a public safety entity that builds boats. The closest one we could find that was a couple years ago was there was a DNR boat from Midwest out in Deep Creek. So that's why we went with Midwest. So. Yep, thank you.
Any other question from council? Council President Glenn?
Chief Hurst, where are you going to house it?
House 3.
House 3?
We had House 3 housed on a trailer. Yep.
There's room there in House 3
Yes, there is room in House 3, absolutely.
That's all I have.
Yeah, when we get out of the Swift Water business, we'll be losing a vehicle and a Zodiac down there. So it'll take place, and we'll replace it with, that's probably a pickup truck that we already have, along with this trailer and airboat. So
Thank you.
Councilmember Ringsager?
Chief Hurst, I've personally been stuck out on the flats before and had to wait for the tide to come in, and I got rather frosty, but I do commend you. My question is, I understand the personnel, saving the hunters and everything else, but will you guys also do any recovery with these vehicles of the vessels?
If needed, absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be available to anybody. DNR, as we make several recoveries all year long, helping DNR and the Maryland State Police, and just recently the JFK Police a few weeks ago. So yeah, it'll be available for anything that's needed along the waterfront.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions from council members? Thank you.
As always, I want to thank you guys, girls. You guys have always been there for us all the time, and our working relationship's fantastic. So we appreciate your support for the Susquehanna Hose Company as always.
Thank you very much, Chief. Okay, next speaker, and forgive me if I don't pronounce the last name correct, Jacqueline Runseville. I don't know if I had it right or not, but welcome to the City Council meeting. May I please have your name and address for the record?
Jacqueline Ronseville, 16 Mallory Way, Northeast Maryland.
Welcome.
I also, though, keep a boat here on a mooring in front of Tidewater, so kind of in between.
Okay?
I was asked to come speak tonight on behalf of Havre de Grace Youth Sailing Program. Those of you who do know me as Doobie. Anybody in town with the camp, I don't know how many hundreds of kids, that's just my nickname. Let me start. Again, thank you for having me tonight. I was informed about the meeting. I'm here to speak on behalf of the camp and the problems with boats speeding through the front from Hayden Bridge to Concord Point. It's supposed to be a no-wake zone in certain hours, but that doesn't always work and people don't always abide by it. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I was a combat medic in the Army Reserves while I got my bachelor's in nursing from the University of South Alabama. I worked as a certified trauma nurse and specialized in cardiac and medical ICU care as a travel nurse all over the southern United States before retiring after doing that for 15 years. My husband and I moved up here 5 years ago when he got a job at Perry Point, VA. He's now the supervisor over the radiology department there. I'm now also a U.S. Sailing Certified Level 1 instructor. I've been the lead instructor from camp now since its conception, pretty much. I've been the director at a time. I've been there for every single day of camp, never missed an hour. I'm on that water during the week more than any other person in this town, most likely. Also, my boat being on the mooring, I'm out there. I see it happen. As for camp, we do 7 weeks of camp with about 25 kids a week, ages 7 to 18. We have a fleet of almost 30 sailboats and 5 power boats now. Our number one priority is safety. I'm sorry. Sorry. And we've had a very good track record so far, and I'd love to keep it that way. Unfortunately, thank you. Unfortunately, it's not always easy, especially when you have boaters with no regard who do not hesitate to cut through the middle of our fleet with 20 boats out there on the water when there's plenty of room to go around. We are trained in using our power boats with the kids to herd them and protect them as needed, but still we can't crash in a boat to stop it. There's many a times we're swinging arms, yelling, "Hey, go away," and nope, they'll cut right through the middle and never hesitate. We also have a big problem with the wakes rebounding off of our docks there at Hutchins Park. It's a metal fronted dock. I don't know if y'all know, but when wakes come in, they bounce right off of it. So it becomes like a giant washer machine. We've had kids slung off the docks, fingers, toes pinched, thank God, no major incidents. I've been slung down on the dock a few times myself just because of the wave action gets so bad in that area. A good example was y'all had a poker run come through during the summer on a Friday up to Lee's Landing. During this poker run, DNR had to come stop the boats from speeding through the area due to the fact that the kids, we couldn't even get them off the boats onto the docks due to all the wakes. And they had boats going well over 60 miles an hour through the area. Even had the organizer director and $1 million, I'm sure, of more ocean racing boat decide he needed to cut through the mooring field and all of our children with about 20 boats on the water and then yell at me and tell me we needed to get off the water because they had their boats coming through on the poker run. And at that time, we were completely this side of the channel where they had the whole channel. But that's the kind of audacity these people have when they have these big boats. I'm sure there's other boat owners and people that love the water out here and know exactly what I'm talking about. At that point, it was just a harassment problem. There was no business for him to cut through us and act like that except to try to show off and try to be a bully. And it was just, I didn't appreciate it at all. We ended up calling DNR and they came and stopped all the boats from speeding through so we could get our kids off the water. I have worked with a lot of businesses over the years and big companies, hospitals and everything, and by far I absolutely love this job here in Havre de Grace. I love how the community has helped us out. The mayor especially, his son's been at our camp pretty much every year, and we so appreciate everything y'all done for us. The docks y'all put in this summer were fabulous. It's been an amazing thing. I love the program. And the biggest thing is, it's your kids out there on the water. It's only gonna take one accident, and when it happens, I tell you one thing, you're not gonna have an instructor anymore, because my heart could not take it. That's how much I love every child and care about every child on that water. Thank you.
Ms. Runseville, may I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I know you've been on the water every day, so you're an expert on answering this. Other than calling DNR, do you see a regular presence of the Maryland State Police boat in the area?
I have to say, I maybe see them once or twice a week, is it?
Okay, I'm just
Would you,
curious.
Annalee, would you agree? Yeah. She's one of the kids that work with me, maybe once or twice a week. On the weekends when I'm on my boat, all the time. On the weekdays, not in the summer. And normally it's not too much of a problem. There's definitely not the traffic. But yeah, that's always, I've been kind of surprised we don't see them out there more sometimes.
Okay, because what we'll do is we'll reach out to them, advocate. The city of Havre de Grace doesn't patrol its waters. It's left
Yeah.
up to the Maryland State Police and Department of Natural Resources. But, I mean, obviously, it's a human safety issue.
Yes.
It's a waterfront issue to our infrastructure, our bulkheads, our marinas.
Yeah. I've had
Obviously.
my boat damaged out on the mooring before. Somebody hit it sometime this summer. I'm sure it was during the night or something, but there's no, other people's boats have also, having issues and stuff.
Understand. Well, thank you very much for speaking this evening and raising this concern to us, and we'll reach out through our contacts.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. Next person is Alicia Arian. Good evening and welcome. I apologize if I did not pronounce your last name correctly.
Oh, that's okay. Mr. Mayor, Council, my name's Alicia Arian. I'm going to add a little bit to Doobie, what she was saying. I own a 36-foot Mariner Ketch sailboat. Do we have boaters in here? Any of you guys? Okay. I live on my boat. That's my home. And I live on the easternmost dock at Penn's Beach. And I can tell you, 5 years, I have been literally knocked off my feet inside my boat with the waves that go through. The waves, especially starting Friday going through Sunday, are unreal, because there are often a lot of times when I can't either get on my boat or get off because the docks are rolling so much, my boat's rolling, and I have not seen anybody patrolling anybody. There's no signs to say no wake, and it's a free-for-all out there. So I just wanted to, the restrictions are, gotta go over here. They must operate at a speed of less than 6 knots, and 100 feet from other boats, people in the water, docks, and bridge abutments. They're nowhere near 100 feet away from us. And if they were, then the boats that are hurting the sail camp, which, yeah, my kids go, grandkids go there, they have plenty of room in there, but they don't abide by it. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next pre-filled out form I'd like to call forward Mr. Fred Wills. Good evening, Mr. Wills. Welcome to the council meeting. Please have your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mayor. Fred Wills, 311D Redhead Way, Havre de Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm here to talk about the annual Thanksgiving dinner. To put a little warning out, it's coming up. So everybody's, I think mostly people are familiar, but it's dinners up at, used to be we had to do indoor and we would deliver. This year, as last year, we're not going to do any indoor eating and serving because it takes a buffet style. So we're kind of staying with the same format as last year. Now, last year we did deliver 1,500 warm meals free of charge to people across the counties, Cecil and Hartford. So again, it'll be Thanksgiving Day, November 25th this year, up at the community center located at 100 Lake Garrett Lane behind the Middleville Elementary School up off of 155. Meals will be delivered, as I said in the past. If there's any meals left, we will do curbside feeding at 11:30. Volunteers who would like to help should arrive around 8 o'clock up at the community center. We'll be limiting the number of people in the building because we're trying to keep our COVID spacing, and if you're up there, bring your own mask. We'll have them if you need them. We'll have gloves for you if you show up to volunteer. Those delivering those meals to Bel Air, Joppa, Edgewood, and Elkton, or further out cities, should arrive around 9:15. Those delivering to Havre de Grace, Aberdeen, and Perryville at 10:15. This is to alleviate, we've had trouble, we've had everybody there at one time, and it just is about a 2.5 to 3 hour event getting all the meals out. Hopefully staggering will help the further out guys get out of the way, let the meal keep up with the line and waiting. Once again, as always, this year, if you want to request a meal or would like to set up the volunteer, please call Don Osmond at either 410-939-5412 or at 443-243-7493. If you'd like to donate any products, foods, or money, feel free to call myself, Fred Wills, at 732-614-6178. Please note that if you're going to donate turkeys, we need those to be with us by the 15th of November to give us enough time to thaw them out and then cook them for the dinner, because we cook them prior to actual Thanksgiving Day. And with that, that's the end of my comments. Any questions?
Any comments from Mr. Wills, Council? Councilmember Boyer?
I know you said that you would take donations of food, but would you also take monetary donations as well?
Yeah, I said money, yeah.
Okay.
Cash App, PayPal.
Yes, we do. They can either be directed to 224 North Washington, which is the Community Projects of Havre de Grace office, or contact myself at the number I provided, and I will help to get you steered in the right direction.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wills. Councilman Robertson.
I just want to say two things. Number one, what's the name of the program again?
It's the Community Projects of Havre de Grace annual Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay, so it's under Community Projects of Havre de Grace.
Correct.
And the second thing is congrats again to Bob.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it. There'll be more on that later.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
My final pre-filled out form belongs to Mr. Sean McCone. Welcome, sir. Good to have you at the council meeting. May you please have your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Sean McCone, 5 Northampton, Timonium, Maryland.
Welcome.
Mayor Martin, Council President Glenn, council members, I want to thank you again for hosting us again this past year for the 2021 Susquehanna Run Festival. On the agenda tonight is approval for our permit for next year. So first off, thank you for your support. I also want to have a special support for the police, also the fire EMS. They do a great job every year. So Captain Walter, Chief Walter, Captain Jonathan Crass, Chief Hurst, and along with the ambulance corps as well. I'll keep my records brief for a second, but just give you a little bit. We do a survey every year. We had 139 responses. This year we got a 4.83 out of 5 kind of rating this year from the people that did respond. 85% plan to run again. All would recommend 4.76 out of 5 rating for the course. Everybody loved the course. Having Havre de Grace is such a beautiful area. We also asked the question, would you return to Havre de Grace for tourism if you weren't from here? Of the 68 people that answered that, 40 said yes, 20 said maybe, 0 of them said no. Just a couple quick quotes from it. I'm a Havre de Grace resident. I'm always happy to show off my hometown. I think the town was put in a positive light. I also really enjoyed the pace groups. They helped me get a new PR. First time running this race. It was fantastic start to finish, well thought out and planned. Great course, loved the premiums, beautiful scenic route, finish area not overly crowded. Such a nice event. I've lived in Perryville for more than 20 years and often thought how nice it would be to cross the bridge on foot. Happy to be able to do that. Everyone's so friendly, encouraging. It's wonderful to see our police in such a positive manner, knowing they keep us all safe. We're not perfect. We've got a couple things we're going to work on. This year we had a little bit of a course change around the lighthouse and on the sidewalk. Didn't get a lot of great feedback on that, but we're going to work on that for next year. We put the mile markers out a little too early on the bridge and they got run over, so there were no mile markers on the bridge, so shame on us. Work on some premium size, but generally everybody loved it. It was a great event, so I appreciate it. Here to answer any questions if you have for next year.
Any questions, Mr. McCone? Yes, sir.
Hey, first of all, thank you. I think the event's only gotten bigger and better, and I've always heard nothing but good things. One of these days, I'll be in shape enough to maybe run it.
That's all right. We might throw a bridge walk in there this year. Don't tell anybody yet.
Yeah, all right. So, did you get the email from Mr. Andrews?
I did.
Okay. You know, the one thing that I would say is just please be cognizant of that, and if you could work with him and those issues this year, that would be great.
Yeah, so so this year, we actually put we do have across Union, we do block Union starting at 7 o'clock. This year, we did things a little bit differently. We pulled out the barricades a little bit earlier, and maybe that was part of the recommendation of Captain Crass, to try to close that down. We do have police officers at the 3 major intersections to cross. I think we can do a better job of communicating where those are, specifically around the boats. So we don't close down the whole area, and it's only really that we close down Union from 8 to about 8:25. So we just need to do a better job, I think, of coordinating that and getting the boats in earlier. If there is a sailing festival on that, we'll have to communicate with them and work with them to find a better place for them to park. But it shouldn't be too much of an issue to get to that side of town. So I'll have to dig a little bit deeper to understand all his concerns.
Any other questions from council? Sean, I know you and I talked briefly the day of the race afterwards. I just want Sean knows this story, but I want everyone in TV land to hear it, and council. We had the pleasure of meeting a couple from California that were in their 70s. I know that Mr. Gamatori and I met these folks, and all these folks do is just travel around the country running 5Ks. And they're just looking for a reason to, in their 70s. Well, actually, he's in his 80s, his wife's in his 70s, and they run, I mean, I think he ran the marathon, tell you the truth, half marathon, it's crazy. They do that in California. But they've been to almost every state, and they came to me and purposely wanted me to know that they've been all around this country, and this is the best race, well-organized and best laid out race that they've run. And if that doesn't say something to your hard work and the character of our city, I don't know what does. And I think with that kind of endorsement from our friends from 3,000 miles away, I think it's worth it. It's worth what we're doing. I know it's hard, and we're building up the attendance, but I mean, I couldn't be no more proud of my city to hear visitors say that. And they weren't the only ones that said that. We get that from a lot of people, and I'm sure you do too. But I want to thank you for all your hard work. It is no small task, just short of an act of God to shut down that bridge. So, but it happens. And I think, fingers crossed, it might be the biggest thing in this region every year. And I thank you for what you do.
I appreciate that. We're working towards it. And just as a reminder, the proceeds benefit the Alcesti Scholarship Fund. We're well over $1 million of awarding scholarships in Hartford County. I will tell you, we've awarded about $100,000 to high school students here in Havre de Grace. I was one of those recipients in 1995. Worked 4 Smiles and was 3 years on the Thanksgiving dinner myself. So, again, appreciate your support. Any other questions, I guess?
Any other questions?
Thanks for what you do.
Thank you,
Thank
Sean.
you.
Thank you. Okay, I have no more pre-filled out forms. Is anyone else in the audience wish to speak or address council? Okay, we will move on to item number 7, appointments. This evening we have no appointments. Item 8, recognitions. This evening we have no recognitions. Item number 9, proclamations. This evening we have no proclamations. Item 10 is presentations. This evening we have no presentations. Item 11, resolutions. We do have one resolution this evening. It's a charter resolution, and I'm going to hand that off to Councilmember Ringsager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to introduce a charter resolution concerning adoption of an annexation plan for 3 parcels on Pulaski Highway.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Ringsager, second by Councilmember Boyer. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. Questions or comments on the introduction of this resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. I will read the header into the record. Charter resolution concerning adoption of an annexation plan for 3 parcels on Pulaski Highway. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, and the revisions of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Local Government Article Subtitle 3, amendment or repeal of charter and subtitle. 4, annexation authorizing the legislative body of the municipality to annex property, extending the boundaries of the municipality by resolution to amend the city charter, specifically Appendix A of the Havre de Grace Charter, by adding subsection A36, the first 2021 addition to the city boundaries, along with a legal description of the acres of land which will enlarge the boundaries of the city of Havre de Grace to include 3 parcels located southeast of Pulaski Highway, consisting of 3 properties known as 1750 Pulaski Highway, 1754 Pulaski Highway, and a 3.85 acre vacant parcel for a total of 6.832 acres, more or less. Council, this is Charter Resolution 290. Charter Resolution 290. And council, do I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 290?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilman Ringsager. Questions or comments? Councilman Ringsager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, this is a charter resolution for annexation of 3 parcels for a total of 6.832 acres. If everybody remembers down Route 40 where Haxel's Flags was, and I can't remember exactly what it is now, but next to it is a trailer sales, and then there's an unimproved lot for a total of 6.832 acres. The first 2 lots have county water and septic. The 3rd lot is unimproved. There will be no impact on police, fire, or EMS, nor the schools, and they will have their own commercial trash service. Sir.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Ringsager. Appreciate the comments. Any further questions or comments from the council? Councilmember Zinner?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Rinsager, if I read this correctly, then right now there are no plans to develop those parcels. They just want to be, they agree to be annexed in, pay city water and sewer, and at this point in time, they're not looking to improve the properties any further than what they are today.
I believe it was my understanding, Mr. Grimm, that they were going to stay on county water, correct?
Correct. One of the main drivers of the annexations along Route 40 is the fact that a number of those properties are on failing septic systems, so they're really coming to the city to get that public sewer. Certainly when public water becomes available, they will be able to access city water. I'll leave that to Mr. Whitty if there's any specific questions about certain properties being able to access water. But that is the main driver. We're seeing that with several parcels along 40.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Any other questions or comments?
No, good.
With no further questions or comments from the council, I'm going to do a roll call vote on Charter Resolution 290. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Council President Glenn?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Charter Resolution 290 is adopted by council by a vote of 6-0. Okay. Thank you very much, council. We will go to item 12, ordinances. This evening we have no ordinances. Item 13, old business. We have no old business. That takes us to item 14, new business. We have several items for new business. We have a couple special events and a few budget amendments. So we're going to start off with Budget Amendment 2022-6, and I will hand this off to the Chair of the Finance Committee, Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce for approval Budget Amendment 2022-06. Sorry, I lost my place.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilman Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is Budget Amendment 2022-06 concerning parking lot on Water Street. Questions or comments? Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, here and at home, just so you all are tracking, this budget amendment is basically receiving DNR funds and putting them in the line to spend them to pave for a parking lot for a new boat ramp down on Water Street. So this is grant dollars. This is not taxpayer dollars. So that's a win for the city. And this is in line with the Shoreline project, and Mr. Whitty is going to just explain a little bit because it's been a while since we've looked at these maps.
Sure. Hold on one second. You got a microphone for Mr. Whitty?
Yes, this one.
Handheld one?
I think I got this one. Anybody? I guess it's good.
Okay.
So the project, as consists of two separate projects, but as mentioned, it is funded by Department of Natural Resources and Maryland Department of the Environment. One portion of the project is the construction of a dual boat ramp and the associated parking in this area for the boats. And then the second phase of the project is the construction of a living shoreline that will be constructed along, this is MTBR property, this is the Water Street property owned by the city. This is extends over to where Gene Roberts Park in this area, and there's the point at David Craig Park. And then we're going to end it, the American Legion has agreed to allow us to construct the living shoreline that will help offset the costs of well, it benefits the city, but it also offsets the cost of the repair that's going to be needed to the bulkhead that's in this wooden bulkhead in this area. And then the project will extend over to with Mr. Wood's property around to the area where the water treatment plant for both the county, Hartford County, and then end at the property where the Tidewater Grill. We've gotten approval from the owner of that restaurant to allow us to construct this. So the boat ramp is actually an idea that was put forth by the Department of Natural Resources. They came up, we were struggling for a use for this property. There's some issues, as the fact that it was an old industrial site, and it comes with issues as far as soil contamination. And working with them, we were able to come up with a plan that turns the old industrial site into a functional park as well as access for boating. The project for the living shoreline, obviously it's a creation of wetlands, low-level wetlands as far as habitat recreation. It offsets sea level rise. It's constructed in that manner. But also part of this project is as part of our MS4 permit, which is a state mandated permit, comes down from the Environmental Protection Agency. We're required to address a 20% restoration requirement to treat all stormwater that is presently not going through a stormwater management facility. And this project actually allows us to be able to do that in these regenerative step pools that are located within a couple areas where we're picking up all this impervious area that's coming up in this area that goes through the storm drain and presently just discharged directly into the river and into the. So it's a great project. We have the funding in place. The total project is around $5.6 million. The county has provided $500,000 towards the construction of the project. The city has put in around $100,000 in engineering. And the remainder of that is coming from grants from the Department of Natural Resources, as well as Maryland Department of Environment for the parking, the boat ramp, and then the living. Any questions?
Councilmember Martin.
Mr. Whitty, one of the other advantages I believe we have in that is the boat ramp at Gene Roberts Park is not really functional, and with the new railroad construction coming up, we would be losing that boat ramp.
Right, as part of the construction of the new railroad, the actual boat ramp is right here. That will be taken out with the construction of the new railroad. You can see we put in the pilings, the piles that were going to be for the bridge, and that's going to actually be taken out. So this does replace it. Also, there is a very large rock out in this area, so that when the tide's not a little bit low, larger boats they'll hit the bottom out on the rock. So it's not the best location. This will definitely be a lot more accessible, a lot more, the goal here is not just from an environmental standpoint, but to rejuvenate the whole area. I know that there's a lot of pressure on the Tidewater Marina and or the Tidings Marina, and so this will alleviate that pressure. Have people parking on the grass, and there's a lot of issues. People trying to just, it creates problems for kayakers. They're trying to go out and use it. We have a lot of people using the water. The other thing that's really great about this living shoreline is it gives people the opportunity for kayakers, especially, to be able to put in any area that they would like to because of the way the slopes of the beach are going down. So we are providing some areas here, like this is a soft kayak launch here, but the way the design is, you could pretty much launch from anywhere along the living shoreline.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Mr. Whitty, what impact will this have on any sedimentation downriver, if any?
Well, that's the part of it. We have issues. These outcroppings actually will help trap sediments that are now going into the various channels and into the other marinas. So there's a multiple. What it does is it also, with the wave action, the way these typically with bulkheads, you have the energy is there's no real dissipation in energy, and what this will do is actually, with the wave action, it actually dissipates the energy, and the sediments and such that are within the water, as far as that goes, will actually deposit on these living shorelines, and hence the term living shoreline. They will be planted with plants, but they actually continue to grow. And that's if you look at the example that we have down at Tidings Park, that it actually, it's up here, but it actually acts as you'll see the sediment and sands actually depositing on there, so that they actually grow instead of erode. They don't erode like a typical very vertical slope does. They actually grow in size as sediments are deposited and sands are.
Any other questions for Mr. Whitty? Councilmember Boyer?
So I'm sure people can't see how many parking spots. So it's going to increase the amount of parking compared to what we currently have down there.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be large enough spots so that people can park their trailers.
Yes, we do. We do have, so we have a variety of parking. We did provide parking for the trailers, which is in this area, but also for folks that want to kayak, we've also provided standard parking spaces here on this side, so people can access and unload and get their kayaks in here. Yes. This, because of the pollution area, it's very interesting. Unfortunately, one of the best remedies for an area where you have sort of ground contaminants in the soil is actually to cap it. And the best capping is impervious area, actually. So in all these areas, we have even though we're taking the soils here out of we're taking out for the boat ramp, we're actually putting down like a layer, like a barrier, and then on top of that barrier, we're putting these soils, and then we'll put topsoil on top of that. So we're actually, what we're doing is we've worked that out with Maryland Department of the Environment as far as the pollutants aren't real high. I don't want anybody to think that this is like a super fun site. It's nowhere near that in any stretch of the imagination. But nonetheless, in order to avoid the contaminants leaching out into the bay, when rains, the water settles into the soil and then it kind of pushes the sediments out as well as the pollutants. The idea is to cap it. So that's kind of what we're doing with this plan as well. And we've gotten that plan approved by the Maryland Department of the Environment.
And how long will it take from shovel to finish?
We're planning on, so Maryland Department of the Environment has approved the permits for this project. So the Maryland side of the permit has been approved, and they actually forward the project up to the Board of Public Works. But the Army Corps of Engineers raised some issues, and so they basically pulled it off the docket. We're hoping to have this project started. So we're working through Army Corps issues. We've been in contact. We had a really good meeting with the folks on Friday. Worked out some issues. We've sort of worked out, we had an additional meeting with the plan reviewers and worked out some details of which we're going to put together. And actually, we're trying to have another meeting with them next week. So we're looking to pull the permits, get the Corps approval, and the permits we're hopefully shooting by January. So we're going to start construction sometime in January, and I believe it'll probably take between, I'm going to say about 9 months of construction to get from here to this area here.
Now, not everybody in town owns a boat.
They do not.
So what are the benefits for people who are not boaters for this public lands that they spent a large amount of money on? Are there walkways or access?
There's going to be, there's access all along this area to the water. And that's the main, what it does is allows people fish, to bird watch, whatever it is, all areas are all walkable. So there's no really need for paths or trails. They're all walkable areas that you can walk on. But it gives people the access to be able to get farther out to fish, out in the deeper water to fish. It allows people who are maybe good but have kayaks to access at all points in this area. So I think that it's more passive recreation. We probably will be able to maybe we'll work on and put some benches and things like that, maybe some seats and picnic tables and such like that. But it's similar sort of to the regenerative stormwater systems that we've put in at between the Maritime Museum and the Decoy Museum. So it's more passive recreation where you're able to walk around. You'll see different. Obviously, we'll be planting this along with seagrass and SABs and other plants. So you'll start seeing people be able to see birds and the sort of nature that adopts this new living space.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Whitty. This isn't really a question so much as a statement. When I first heard of the idea of a new boat ramp a few years back, I was a little concerned because, the city taxpayers voted back in 2016 to spend or borrow $1.1 million to finish purchasing that property that we had already spent $400,000 on. And part of that came with the promise of a park. So, when I heard boat ramp, I got a little concerned because not everyone owns a boat. Most folks in Havre Grace really won't benefit from a boat launch. People in the county or surrounding area would probably benefit from a boat launch, but not the citizens of Havre Grace who voted to spend that money. But looking at this plan, and I really appreciate Mr. Whitty taking the time and General Taylor, we're gaining a lot of grassy area that will eventually be able to have nice attributes, gazebos, other fixtures, whatever, a few years down the road. So I think that this is a good plan, and it's not costing us anything.
Thank you, Councilman Robertson. Any other questions, comments? Councilman Zinner?
I just want to say that before I was on council, I did vote for the city to spend the funds. And I used to live across the river, and I used to look at those 2 oil tanks for several years. And I was a little concerned, and one of my questions before I voted yes was, what would the city have to pay to clean up that site? So as time went on and more ideas came across, I mean, I too was thinking park. But I think a park can be different things. It doesn't have to be a traditional park like maybe Tidings Park. But anywhere where you can walk along, where you can have passive recreation, to me is a park. So I think it follows the intent that council at that time was hoping for in terms of a recreation facility that would be less harmful or not harmful to people who choose to use it. And like anything in the city, any park, any recreation area, it's someone's choice whether they can avail themselves of those amenities or not. I hope that many citizens will avail themselves of just the beauty of it and the ability to see the wildlife. And if they want to go kayaking or they want to go fishing or they want to do more active things, they're able to do that. But I think the money is well spent, especially with what we're getting from various government agencies to enhance the whole waterfront. And I think it's a wise investment for the city. And thanks for giving us this visual this evening. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Mr. Whitty, thank you very much for your explanation. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. No problem. Thank you.
Comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Budget Amendment 2022-06 passes 6-0 in the affirmative. Councilmember Robertson, would you be kind enough to read in the budget transfer number for us, please?
Oh, man. In the from column, account number 01-0001-48-34, state grants, DNR, $133,500. In the to column, account number 01-1251-7082, water street remediation, $133,500.
Mr. Horty, we straight? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. And thank you, council. We're going to go on to item B under new business. Budget Amendment 2022-07 concerning low water rescue vessel. Councilman Robertson.
Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to approve Budget Amendment 2022-07.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilman Robertson, second by Councilmember Zinner. This is Budget Amendment 2022-07. Questions or comments? Councilman Robertson.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. For ladies and gentlemen here and at home, this is the one that Chief Hurst spoke of a little earlier for the shallow water boat. The funding source for this is the slip user fees, which is Fund 7. And I think that it's important to understand that that is revenue that is set aside with a specific purpose. In Chapter 28-15, that's Chapter 28, Article 2, Section 15 of the City Code, the use of revenue, the city may use any revenue received from the user fees to maintain and enhance water quality, water and wastewater treatment facilities, marinas, law enforcement, public safety, and fire services. So I think that it's important that the folks in Havre de Grace understand that this is a fee that's collected by every boat owner in town to basically provide services for those boat owners. And I think that this boat aligns with that funding source, with the intended use, and after the presentation, I think it's something that we would all benefit from.
Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Councilmember Martin.
This is something that I believe the Susquehanna Host Company can use. I hope they never have to use it. But again, when we're talking about the safety of all our constituents and the visitors that come to Havre de Grace, Havre de Grace needs to be known as a #1 destination place. And these kind of safety features that are built in and maintained by a volunteer organization, the Susquehanna Host Company, are important to all of us.
Thank you very much, Councilman Martin. Appreciate the comments. Any other comments? Council President Glynn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a couple key points. As Chief Hurst explained earlier, this boat will operate in extreme conditions, and that's a key point. You know, it's going to operate in extreme conditions. The other thing is, if you look at the title, Low Water Rescue Vessel, the key word in that is rescue. Didn't say recovery, it said rescue. When we live on the waterfront, it's a key, our goal is to save lives. And that's what we can't lose sight of. As Councilmember Martin said, how often we use it? It's my hope we never use it. I don't think that's realistic. But keep in mind, the question came up, similar question came up when we were looking at the fireboat. And no sooner had we got the fireboat in place and operational, they had the huge condo fire in Perryville. And if you watch that fireboat in operation, it saved property and it saved lives that night. No doubt about it. I mean, it was worth its weight in gold on that one event. And again, like in extreme conditions, we're known to be flooding. And I've been one that have always said that safety is my #1 priority. And I'm not one that's going to compromise safety. And with that being said, Council members, I'll be voting yes tonight.
Thank you, Council President Glenn. Councilmember Boyer?
I think what I like most about this is it is an eloquent use of the funds in, it's Fund 7, right?
Fund 7.
In Fund 7. It's just an eloquent use for it. The people who use the boat slips are the ones that are more likely to need it more than others. It goes, the use for it, it just makes complete sense. I used to live in the apartments down on Concord Cove, and I would see people coming in on a low tide and getting their boats stuck, being stupid and walking out on the flats, thinking that they'll just walk over to the little island there and wait it out while their boat was tilting, you know, time and time again, or even in the winter with people trying to get in through the ice. You know, it's just so many things that could go wrong. And I definitely think that we need a boat that can get out to the areas where traditional boats can't get. It's a safety issue. And I see it being used a lot. You know, I'm a kayaker, as you know, we've been talking. I can see it being used a lot to go rescue kayakers that get stuck on Garrett Island or other places that it'd be hard to get to them. I think this is a smart use of our money. And we have proven that there is absolutely a need, and we need to hurry up and do it before it's too late. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Councilmember Ringsager.
Everybody else talks, so I figure I would too. Like I said, I've been stuck out there before. I'm a duck hunter, and you know, the flats, Havre is known for the flats, and the main issue out there is they keep on changing, and with the problems we have, the Exelon and the dam, and this extra sediment that we even mentioned earlier tonight, you don't know year to year where those low spots are going to be. So even an experienced hunter, which I don't claim to be, but you know, I've been out there with people before, and we've run around just a little bit, just dragging, trying to go from point A to point B. You know, we have bodybuilders in Havre that are out there all the time, and just the preponderance of people that have the ability to get stuck every day, doing what they like, and having the ability to rescue them is something that I support. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ringsager. Any further questions or comments? Before I do the vote, I just want to also commend the Susquehanna Hose Company for proactive thinking. It's as a boater myself, I just want to say to the viewing public at home that if you're thinking, why are people boating on the flats? Nobody boats on the flats. You end up on the flats. You know, that's, if your engine stops with the force of the water coming from the dam, you will end up on the flats. And then, you know, the rescue boat that draws several feet of water can't always get into it to get you out of there. So that's I think what everyone's trying to say. Nobody intentionally goes on the flats, you just end up there. So again, I thank council, and as council member Robertson, you know, perfectly stated, it's a tax paid by boaters that goes back to the boaters. And again, I'm happy the council, I hope council supports this, and I'm happy that the Susquehanna Hose Company is taking advantage of it and is willing to train and to use that apparatus to save more life. Budget Amendment 2022-07. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Budget Amendment 2022-07 for low water rescue vessel is approved 6-0 in affirmative. Thank you very much, council. Appreciate it. Item C, special events. Mr. Gambatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. This evening, we have two special event applications.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. Did you need me to read those
Oh.
account numbers?
My hand was right on the page too, and I moved my hand. Yes, sir. Hold on one
I
second.
don't know how, I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, thank you. I was wondering why my hand was on that page for like 2 minutes. Go ahead and please read the numbers.
In the from column, account number 01-0001-49-00, fund transfer slip users, Fund 7, $145,000. In the to column, account number 01-1131-6501, additional Susquehanna Hose Company contributions, $145,000.
Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Mr. DeHory, is that straight? Thank you very much. Mr. Gambatory.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So we have two special event applications to review this evening. The first one is the Holly Jolly First Friday. It's organized, of course, by the City of Havre de Grace. It will be occurring on December the 3rd, which is a Friday. Setup time will be 2:30. The actual event will start at 4 p.m. and end at 8 p.m. The parade will actually start at 6 p.m. Same lineup down at Warren Street and then up St. John Street to Washington Street. This year it'll be a little bit different. The parade will continue all the way to Congress Avenue as it always does. However, Santa Claus will be getting off at the Christmas tree at 5 Points, right at the near Gall's Bakery and the Masonic Lodge. So Santa won't be coming all the way down to Congress Avenue this year. It's a little bit different. We just have logistically to get Santa at the tree to light it is the reason for the change. You have before you the costing sheet, and other than that, nothing much has changed from previous years, and we look forward to having the event on that first Friday in December.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gambatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve Holly Jolly First Friday.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Robertson, seconded by Councilman Ringsager. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Holly Jolly First Friday for December 3rd, 2021, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. downtown streets of Washington, Pennington, and St. John's and Franklin is approved by council 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you. Item number 2, Susquehanna Run Festival. Mr. Gambatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and we have the 2022 Susquehanna River Running Festival. It'll be on the setup will be on the 23rd of September. The actual race will be on Saturday, the 24th of September. Start time is race time is 0800 hours. The event should end by 4 p.m. Cleanup by 6. Now, Council, you'll notice in the packet there's going to be some incomplete information only because we've asked Mr. McCone to come in early to get the date so that he can coordinate with the bridge to have it closed. So what's incomplete in your packet at this point is the costing sheet. You'll notice the certificate of insurance expires. That's something you get annually, so that date has expired. All those things we're asking council if they would approve it, that we would come back to council at a later date and have the final package. But most importantly tonight, I think it's to get that date saved. We're going to have some conversations again with Mr. McCone and his group on the route, and we have some ideas I think that'll be helpful for our Department of Public Works on the pickup side of it with signage and so forth that are all very doable, and I've had some preliminary conversations with Mr. McCone on that. So if council has any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer them. I can tell you that just as this year and in previous years, the costing for the police department is reimbursable by the Susquehanna Foundation, so our true costs are only on the DPW side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gambatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve the Susquehanna River Run Festival.
Second.
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? Councilmember Martin.
Steve, I know that you said they were going to be discussion. That is going to include. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll get the hang of this by the time. That is going to include discussion with the Marina and the police department on improving access for the boaters that are coming in, because that is also their sailing camp. And I think they were talking about a lot of their young boaters are coming in 8:20 in the morning. So that is part of the open discussion.
Yes, sir. And thanks for bringing that back up because we did have somebody had brought that up earlier. I've had that discussion with Mr. Andrews today from Tidewater Marina that had some concerns. I know the mayor had received an earlier email right after the event with the actual annual regatta that they have. So those items we're going to work through between Mr. McCone's group with our police department, the downtown access, going through St. John down to Market, to get people to that side. We think that can more easily be accomplished than what it was. We did make a lot of closures earlier. Union Avenue closes very quickly. However, to get access to Tidings Park becomes very challenging. So we're going to have to work with those that are participating in the regatta that are slip holders down at Tidings. We're going to have to get them in earlier, or park them on the west side of Union Avenue, and they're going to have to walk to the park. These aren't boaters that are launching. These are boaters that are slip holders. So yes, sir, we're going to work through all that, and we have a couple other ideas we think that will improve accessibility throughout the city.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments? No problem. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Susquehanna River Running Festival 2022, approved by council, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Gamatore. Mr. Gamatore, we're going to go right back to you for Director's Report from the Office of Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. I'll be very brief. Just two quick items. One is we were notified by the Record newspaper a week or so ago that they will no longer be able to post our ads into the local paper. Typically, there's some requirements under our charter that we have to post in a local newspaper. So we'll be doing that now strictly in the Aegis. And where we can, we'll do it both on the Wednesday and Friday editions. So Wednesday becomes a little challenging due to their times in which you have to have the information to the newspaper to get it into the Wednesday paper. But Tammy Brinkman's working with the newspaper in order to accomplish that. So I think there's going to be a merger, sounds like, between the Record and the Aegis of some degree. I'm not sure which. And then the other thing I'd like to mention quickly is there were several people that spoke this evening about the no wake zone out off of our shoreline between Concord Point and up toward Lapidum. This afternoon, after several conversations over a few month period, I met with Glenn Frome, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and Julie Runke. Mr. Frome is a captain and also pilots large vessels from here to the islands, down to South America, all over. He had some ideas as far as petitioning to put a no-wake zone on our shoreline west of the channel. So this would not, his proposal was not to impact boats, traversing the channel, but anybody that would come on the west side of the channel, being on our side, in between our shoreline and the channel. So he's come up with a proposal. He's also got a number of petitions and a number of signatures from property owners along the entire waterfront, with the exception of one. And I'll be putting that package together, putting it in council's read file, so you can look it over, and then we'll have a discussion at a further time on that. And I have to speak with the city attorney on the process in which, if we wanted to petition for a no-wake zone along the waterfront. I know our Board of Port Wardens has some discretion, but I don't think they have the power to enact that. More than likely will be a Coast Guard approval. So just to follow up with those that spoke this evening, that the city does recognize it. We did hear a number of complaints from the boat school this past summer with some close calls, and especially when they're out there learning how to sail, not in the channel but outside the channel, and nearly have gotten picked off by a couple speeding boats. So just so everyone knows, we're working that issue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Camatori. Councilman Martin, go ahead.
Steve, one of the things that came up in last year's legislative package, yeah, keep laughing, was a piece of legislation on notification.
You know, if we didn't love you, I wouldn't even tell you that.
It's all good. Like I said, by the end of the night, I'll have this down. There was a piece of legislation that was brought forward about either and/or about announcements from municipalities. So it was defeated because there are some municipalities that don't have the capability of a website, and there's some municipalities that, as we're seeing now, we're losing. So that may be a piece of legislation that comes up again. It may be something we need to look out for, because if it's and/or, we may be able to get by with just posting stuff on the city website.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go with Director of Planning, Mr. Shane Grimm. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and citizens. It's weird to hear about Holly Jolly First Friday because I'm still returning clothes from last Christmas. Seems like it was just yesterday, but we're already there. This evening, I do have a report to read out regarding the Community Rating System, CRS, which I've talked to you about before. This is required to be read in the record. And CRS is our community rating system, which we do certain things as a city, specifically Marissa Willis, to get certain points towards a scoring system, which helps to lower the insurance rates, flood insurance rates for our citizens. So this is part of the update to the hazard mitigation plan. So if you'll bear with me, I'll just read this as quickly as I can and as clearly as I can. So this report is to be read into the record at a publicly televised city council meeting on Monday, October 18th, 2021. Copies of the original hazard mitigation plan are available at Harford County Department of Emergency Services, as well as at each of the 3 incorporated municipalities within Harford County, Havre de Grace, Bel Air, and Aberdeen. Within the county hazard mitigation plan, under the mitigation goals and action plans section, 4 goals were outlined for the city of Havre de Grace. Goal 1, reduce flood losses. The city's floodplain ordinance and FEMA mapping were updated and effective on April 19th, 2016. The revised ordinance is based on the state model and incorporates a 2-foot freeboard requirement. The city's comprehensive plan adopted a water resources element by resolution number 2010-17 in December 2010. Over the past few years, the city has acquired several waterfront properties to preserve as public open space. Permits are in process for our Water Street properties to create boat launches, parking, recreation area, and stormwater management. We hope to begin construction in early 2022. The MDE Army Corps permit for this project has been combined with a second Living Shoreline project along some waterfront properties on Water Street, up to the north end of St. John Street at the American Legion property. The first city project for 1,350 linear feet of a living shoreline at Concord Point Park has been completed. Follow-up is in progress to replace some plantings that have failed to survive the summer heat. Engineered plans have been obtained for Phase 1 of Lily Run for 2,500 feet of wetland enhancement and step pool design, and establishing a marshy area as a no-mow buffer. This will be in the area of Juniata Street, Revolution Street, and Wilson Street, where flooding is common during heavy rains. No work has begun on this project yet. Previously, the city was hoping to work out details with the Maryland Department of Transportation, but no progress had been made. Grant funding will be sought, and we hope to share the project with Harford County instead of DOT. Also, in the general area of this project, the Harford County Board of Education has completed construction of the new high school, middle school for full occupancy. Their stormwater requirement for the school construction is in its final stages of completion. There was a pond retrofit and partial stream restoration of Lily Run at the city-owned stormwater management pond at the Bradford Green development area. Work has been completed, and the city is following up with planning maintenance. Other stormwater projects that were completed include the retrofit to the Concord Point Pond with the addition of 2 landscape infiltration areas, the storm pipe near the Maritime Museum, which was daylighted with step pools, a rain garden near the Decoy Museum with a dry stream channel meandering into the cove. Shoreline slopes were lessened, invasive species removed, and native plantings installed. Goal 2 is to protect infrastructure, water and wastewater systems. The city has installed new cameras for the SCADA system at City Hall, Police Department, Water Treatment Plant, and the water towers above town. The wastewater treatment plant and the DPW shop had new cameras installed this year. The water treatment plant is currently undergoing upgrades for new screens on the intakes and repairing or replacing any pipes and clamps. This work will continue for approximately another year or more. There are no salinity problems at the plant. Work was slowed during peak COVID-19 months of 2020 and 2021 due to material shortages. The city also has concept plans in process for replacement of 3 outfalls at the wastewater treatment plant. These outfalls will include a treatment system for stormwater runoff prior to reaching the Chesapeake Bay. Smoke testing is done as needed or when illegal activities are suspected. Goal 3, educate and inform the public about all hazards. Designed for residents of Havre de Grace, the City Connection newsletter is a city government publication that provides updates on city projects, important announcements and introductions, and key contact information. The newsletter is generally published semi-annually. New publications are mailed to each household within city limits. The city also publishes a welcome home booklet, updated as needed. Contents include general information on city services, schools, parks, contact information, permits, storm preparation, how to check for water leaks, and how to prevent sewer backups. This booklet is available at City Hall, various locations around town, and mailed to new residents. Important updates and announcements are also posted on our city website, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as during city council meetings. Effective May 1st, 2018, the City of Havre de Grace was upgraded to a CRS Class 7. Many hours are dedicated to educating the public on flooding hazards, mapping, insurance, natural floodplain functions, and building requirements. Multiple FEMA booklets and brochures are available in the City Hall lobby and the local library. The city also has a web page on the city website dedicated to floodplain management. Our website also includes a link to the official hurricane guide for Harford County, Surviving the Storm. Goal 4, protect infrastructure. The City Hall building is equipped with multiple cameras inside the main lobby, council chambers, and around the perimeter of the building. Panic buttons are in multiple locations and functioning properly. The police department is also equipped with multiple cameras inside and out. As mentioned under Goal 2, additional cameras have been installed at the wastewater treatment plant and DPW shop. In summary, the City of Havre de Grace has been very proactive in enhancing city properties and facilities, upgrading infrastructure, and working to reduce stormwater flooding. Financial limitations guide us in a conservative manner. Administration applies for applicable grants as they become available. As with other historic communities around the state, aging water and sewer lines in need of replacement are priorities that sometimes delay progress of other projects. Roadways and sidewalks are repaired as needed. We are always striving to make Havre de Grace a better place in which to live, work, and enjoy an excellent quality of life. And thank you for listening to that spiel. As I often say, I have a face for radio and a voice for silent films. So thank you.
What was that? Yeah, what was that?
Yes,
middle
sir,
part?
I would remind.
Mr. Grimm, thank you very much. Do you have any other comments, sir?
Not this evening, sir. That should be it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're going to go with Mr. DeHorty. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. First, thank you, council, for approving the budget amendments. These are 2 very important items, and allowing us to move forward is a great help to the administration. As to the condition of the funds, the general fund, the fund balance is just over $10.25 million, and we're running about 1.35 ahead of schedule. Most of that can be attributed to carryover from the prior year, which was just under 1.35. The rest are positives and negatives for the year so far, which most are due to timing, but not all. Salaries are about $370,000 below budget at the time, and and real property tax billings are $108,000 over. Offsetting those, grants are running about $328,000 behind schedule, and non-personnel spending right now is running about $135,000 over budget. These things you can anticipate fluctuating, but by and large, the normal stream is for that fund balance to slowly decrease. Of course, everybody got their July 1 tax bills, and that's what caused them all to raise. And that funds us pretty much throughout the year with the addition of some intergovernmental revenues that we get quarterly. grants with the capital projects that we time. But by and large, you can anticipate the future reports just watching that fund balance slowly decline back down because, as you're aware, we tax based on what we anticipate using and no more in accordance with the charter. The Water Sewer Fund, the fund balance is sitting at just over $365,000. It's increased $1.1 million for the year. There's three components of that. The operating profit right now is at $1.1 million. We've added just under $1 million in capital cost recovery fees. Mr. Grimm, congratulations. That's over 50% of the way for the year, and so we're doing very well in that area. And we've spent, as planned, on capital projects and debt service just slightly over $1 million. The water sewer fund you can expect to kind of rise and fall a little bit, but stay pretty close to break even during the year if things go as planned, and so far they have. The marina, the fund balance is sitting at $800,000. It's decreased by $140,000 year to date. That also, we've had an operating loss of $100,000, little over $100,000, and we put another $40,000 into capital projects. Again, for the marina, the anticipation is most of the revenues come in the December and January time period, so it is not unusual for it to start the year running behind schedule, kind of leapfrog it over as we get all the revenues in, and then come back down to where we anticipate it by the end of the year. And that's my report for the current financial condition. Things seem to be running as planned by the budget, sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Doherty. Any questions from the council? Okay, thank you, Mr. Doherty. Good evening, Mr. Woody.
Good evening,
How's
Mayor.
DPW doing?
Really good, really good. Staying busy. I'd just like to also thank council for approving the budget amendment for Water Street. As I've been talking about it all along, I think that's a project that's going to transform that area of the city, and as we go along, I think it's going to be a project that's going to get a national attention, and I believe is we're going to continue on with the goal of carrying that around the shoreline, that everything that the city of Havre de Grace owns, ultimately looping around Concrete Point Park. So it's a great project. I think it will, as we said, will help the city meet a lot of goals and be a model for other municipalities as far as environmental activism. I just have a couple things to talk about. One is the Marina Dredging. That project was advertised today. All the plans are approved by the city. We have the DMP site locked in with the Swan Harbor Park in Hartford County, and we're moving ahead with the advertisement and select a contractor to do the work. We're constantly hitting delays on materials. One of the things that we're seeing is the paving. I know I talked about actually having it done in October, and based on the contractor and his asphalt supplies, we're looking now, it's been pushed back to about the second week of November. And then finally, we are moving ahead. The contractor did get the supplies, and we're moving ahead with the Old Bay Lane water line. That's going to loop. Right now, the water line that goes down Old Bay Lane is dead ends at the end of the road. We will be looping that through the National Guard property and connecting it up to a water main that's presently located in the DPW yard. And what that will do is, right now, if we have a leak on Revolution, we have to turn the line off and we shut down the water service to the industries on Old Bay Lane. And so what that will do is be able to continue to provide water so that the businesses can stay in operation. And so that's definitely a good thing. It would also improve the pressures for the fire service as well. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woody. Appreciate the update.
No problem.
Lieutenant Humphrey, good to see you, sir.
Good evening, council, citizens. I just want to remind everybody with Halloween coming up that we got numerous trunk or treat sites throughout the city. Check the kids' candy. be careful on apples, any soft food like that. Watch your speed. And the other thing is light the kids up. Reflective, flashlights, whatever, so somebody can see them. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Appreciate the words of wisdom. They same as they are today as they were 20 years ago. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to business from the mayor's office. Item 16 on this evening's agenda. Couple updates. So where are we at with redistricting? I know a couple council meetings ago I gave like a little presentation on the councilmanic districts of what your council member districts look like in Harford County. I showed you what they look like today. I showed you what we propose of what we hope they look like. The good news is the 5-member commission that was appointed by the county council president voted to recommend a new councilmanic district map that looked very much like the one that the city of Havre de Grace recommended. And that map that went to, and so our map, the map, goes to the county council, and they ultimately get the vote on whether or not they accept the commission's recommendation. They can tweak it if they want, or they can keep the one they have. It's really up to them. The 5-member redistricting commission was just making a recommendation, but it's important. I mean, that's what their job is. Their job is to make a recommendation and study the data and the changes that take place in the electorate over the 10 years, especially using the census data. So if you're interested, emailing or speaking in favor or against the map, the county council will hold a public hearing tomorrow, Tuesday, October 19th at the county council chambers, 6 p.m. You can email the county council or you can go in person and speak should you choose to do so, but we'll keep you updated. We don't know what the county council's timeline is. But I do know if they don't take action in 70 days, then the map that was handed to them by the redistricting commission becomes the map. So if they don't take action in 70 days, then the map that was recommended becomes the map. They actually have to take action if they don't want that. So just keep you updated on what's going on. Again, I want to thank Mr. Whitty and his staff. My staff are working on this Living Shoreline project, the one that was presented to you moments ago by Mr. Whitty. Everybody's on board, the state of Maryland, Department of Natural Resources. We are, I think, one of the final keys that we need now is support from the Army Corps of Engineers, and they've been very receptive of coming up to understand our project. This past Friday, we were visited by Colonel Penchason from the who is in charge of the Army Corps of Engineers out of Baltimore, and Miss Elliott from State College. They came down to visit and to try to get a better understanding of our project and to see where we're heading with it. This project is different. It's kind of well, I hate to use the word cutting edge by using seagrass, but I mean it's a different way of looking at how to treat stormwater management, and so. I commend the Army Corps of Engineers for taking an interest coming up and studying what we're trying to do and talking to us in detail. And so we're still working with the Army Corps, but we feel very confident that, hopefully we can move forward with this project. Oktoberfest was this past weekend, and I tell you what, it was a lot better than the weather would have told you. We've had a whole dry month of October, but right in the middle of our Oktoberfest, it was supposed to rain. But it actually held off pretty good. We got a good 3-4 hours under our belt. It rained for 15 minutes. Then we had another hour or so of good weather. Everyone I talked to, especially the vendors who were participating, said they were very happy with it. And the citizens I had a chance to talk to said they were happy with it as well. It was our first Oktoberfest that we've had since 2019. So we were very happy to have it. And I always kind of feel like the Oktoberfest kind of closes out the tourism season a little bit. I mean, we have some events afterwards, but, we had the Defenders Day weekend in May, and then we have the Oktoberfest bookend and the two events that the city sponsors personally. So those, like Oktoberfest and Defenders Day, the city runs those events. And the reason we run those events is to allow our nonprofits, whether you know, whether you got Girl Scouts selling water or whatever nonprofit wants to jump in, or the Masonic Lodge that was doing the German beer. We hope that our local nonprofits and organizations can benefit from activities and events like that. So we had a nice time, good German music and German food, German beverages. It's always good to see friends and neighbors again outside, and was at a new venue this year down at Concord Point Lighthouse, which given the size of the Oktoberfest, I think it's a good spot for it. So the next event we want to put on everybody's calendar is the annual Oyster Feast, which is going to be the Saturday before Thanksgiving. It's going to be this Saturday, November 20th. And instead of being at the community center, as it has been the last 4 years, it's going to be at the old Havre de Grace High School Gymnasium, the one across the street on Congress Avenue. Tickets are $65 a piece. You get steamed oysters, fried oysters, raw oysters, oyster stew, roast beef, pit ham, you name it. There's all kind of stuff that you would expect at a high quality event like that, but a lot of oysters. If you like oysters, this is what you want to do. So tickets are $65 a piece, but $15 of each ticket sold goes back to the nonprofit of your choice who's participating. So, for example, if you want to support the Lock House or Independence State Commission or Parks and Rec, if they're selling tickets, then every ticket you buy, $15 goes directly back to that organization. It's still an incredible deal when you think about the amount of seafood you can get for $65. I know that, they don't make any money on us, do they, Jim? No. I can guarantee you that. I know. I can guarantee you that, So, so where can you get tickets? Okay, tickets, you can go to Explore Havre de Grace website. You can also go to the tourism office and pay cash for them if you want to there. But either way, if you buy them on the website, or if you go to the tourism office, you can do it on the website, or you can do it at the tourism office. You can say which nonprofit you wish your proceeds to go to. You can choose. And you can also buy tables of 8 if you wish to. So this is going to be November 20th. This year, it's 5 o'clock in the evening until 10 o'clock. There's going to be a band, there's music, and just a great time for everybody. But we have a new location, and it's going to be at the old high school gymnasium. So we'll have it all cleaned up and ready for you. And speaking of having it all cleaned up and ready for you, this Saturday, October 23rd, we are calling on all volunteers. We're calling on everybody who wants to roll up some sleeves and spend some time with good people. And from 8 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, we are asking people to sign up for 2-hour shifts and meet us at the old high school gymnasium and help us clean it out. I said at the last council meeting, when the school system abandoned that building, they only let the teachers, the gym teachers and the health teachers and the music teachers and the band teachers in there for a day or two just to get their stuff they have to have to the new school, but they had to leave a lot of old stuff there because they all had new stuff at the new school. So there's just a lot of disposable rubbish, nothing of any value, like old papers, composition books, just you name it. Just a lot of trash needs to be thrown out, because we want to get the gymnasium cleaned out and put online so we can start using it for youth, basketball, indoor soccer, volleyball, floor hockey, stuff like that. So, and it's a lot to do. And then instead of, having a crew of 6 DPW guys work 3 months to clean it out, I think we can just attack it all at once as a community and get it done in 6 hours. So we have over 30 to 40 people signed up already. We're still looking for more volunteers, especially from the 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock time slot. All you got to do is go to havredegracemd.gov, and there's a sign-up spot on there, believe it or not. Just go to the city website. You'll see community cleanup, click it on, and if you type your name in, you show up, and you'll be greeted with smiley faces, and we could just use your hand, just whether it's for an hour, 2 hours, just come on, and we'll have some roll-off dumpsters and some hand trucks, and we'll just throw stuff away. And we'll get that gymnasium ready to roll for the community to use. And that's this Saturday, October 23rd, 8 to 2 in the afternoon. So as the weather's getting colder, and you can smell the fires, and more importantly, the crackling of the fires. That brings Halloween with it. And when Halloween comes in Havre de Grace, we definitely have a great day. So October 30th, listen at home, pay attention. On October 30th, pumpkin carving, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Havre de Grace Decoy Museum. $8 charge. I guess you have to pay for the pumpkin. Trunk or treat, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Havre de Grace Housing Authority at Somerset Manor. Downtown businesses trick or treat, 5 o'clock in the evening until 7 in the evening, participating downtown businesses only, which I think a lot of them do that. Last time a lot of businesses were participating. So yep, bring your kids down there and trick or treat the businesses. Also, costume contests, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. downtown on Pennington Avenue, and on October 31st, traditional trick or treat. And let's say trick-or-treating this year, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Those wishing to participate. If you don't want to participate, just turn your light off. And get rid of your pumpkins. Just make sure that nobody knows you like Halloween. Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, that's all I got. Wait. I'm good. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. We're going to go into comments from the council. I'm going to start with Councilman Ringsager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, pleasure. This past Saturday, I did have a blast at Oktoberfest. I was already soaking wet from football, so when I showed up, it just, stayed getting wet and had a good time and helped clean up a little bit. So it was a good time. I look forward to it every year. It's always my favorite event, and that is the plus side of this being my last year coaching football is next year I can actually go to the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that. This past Monday, we had the Marina Commission where we discussed dredging, Wi-Fi, Airbnbs, et cetera. And I will have a report in November for the council. I don't think I'm going to give the report. I'm just going to hand it out to everybody, and it'll be available on the city website. Wage and Benefits Commission will be meeting in November, but there will not be a meeting in October. And as for Halloween, I'd like to remind everybody that Coach Jim does give out full-size candy bars. So if you know where I live, come find me. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
We're the first 6 trick-or-treaters. Thank you very much, Councilmember Ringsager. We're going to go to Councilmember Boyer. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. So despite the crisp autumnal chill of this weekend, the Green Team had a great event at Todd Park on Saturday at the Food Forest. Adopters prep their trees for the winter. This year, they were able to harvest a large amount of fruit, including crisp peaches, figs, blueberries, elderberry, and service berries. So it's kind of exciting to see that our plants have finally started to produce a large amount of fruit, and it's available to everybody in the community. So if you're in the Todd Park area and they're all picked and taken care of, but next spring and summer, feel free to come in and get some fruit from the trees. Or if you're interested in adopting a tree, let us know, and we can identify a way for you to help out with the Todd Park Food Forest. So the Green Team also wrapped up the community garden just in time for the frosty weather with a grand total of 1,807 pounds of food distributed to the Havre de Grace food pantries. I want to give a huge shout out to Anise Bloom, who is just an absolutely amazing person. She planned this garden and took care of it, got a large amount of volunteers to come out and water and care for the garden and to help distribute the food. And if you are on Facebook, she has regular postings about what all they were able to get from the garden. It is absolutely amazing and well loved by all of the people who attend our food pantries. It's wonderful to be able to provide people with fresh, healthy food. And the fact that it was grown by people who love them in their own community just makes it even that much better. So hopefully, as she's sitting by the fire, the crackling fire this winter, planning her plantings for next year, she can also plan on a lot of volunteers from Havre de Grace helping her out, and including monetary. If you're interested in donating money, they do buy some, they do a lot of their own growing of seed, but they also buy plants as well, and they also need some structures and other things to support the garden. So again, if you see a niece, give her a great big high five and tell her that you really appreciate all the work that she's done, and she's an amazing citizen of Havre de Grace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday's National Make a Difference Day. I'll be there from 8 to 10, maybe longer, we'll see. And I did get a chance to tour the auditorium and the gymnasium this week, so there is quite a lot of things to throw away. I can't wait to see the report from the feasibility study that's being done regarding the future use of the auditorium, because I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to our arts and entertainment district, and really anxious to see what they have to say and hear what they have to say in terms of plans. I want to thank Jacqueline and Alicia, for communicating to us some of the issues that they face on the water. It was news to me that I've seen boats speeding, but I didn't really think in the terms of that they're out of the channel and they're creating wakes that are dangerous to the children who are taking classes, and also to the residents who, in Alicia's case, live on the boat. So I'm glad she brought that to our attention, and then hopefully those who are listening to this become more aware as well. I want to remind everyone the art show is this weekend. I think it's, since we missed last year, I think this is the 58th year. And it will be both in Tidings Park and Concord Point Park. The Art Commission will be meeting next week at 6:30 in City Hall, and that's all my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Good evening, Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. Just a quick update for my fellow council members and administrative folks. No Budget and Finance Committee meeting tomorrow evening. I have other commitments in the community. I think this Saturday should be a great event for everybody participating. I've volunteered at several events for the past month and a half, every weekend for the city, so I'm taking this one off. I hope that everybody's out there enjoying the crisp autumn air and this fall weather that we're finally getting. I, for one, enjoy the hoodie time. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I got.
Councilmember Robertson, thank you very much. Good evening, Councilmember Martin.
Sure you want to press it this time? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council citizens. I attended the MML Fall Conference last weekend, and a vote was taken by the membership on the legislative initiatives for this year. Two of them are fairly important to all of us. One is the restoration of the highway user revenue, to get that back up to 100%, but also to get rid of the sunset. We have 2 more years, and if we can't get rid of that sunset, it will revert back to the low revenue we were receiving 5 years ago. Second is the Police Reform Act. There is a piece of that Reform Act that has a negative impact on our police department, in that, and all municipalities, in that municipalities don't have a say in either the police review board or the administration. It's handled by the county or the county sheriff or the county police department. So it takes away the ability of the police department and the citizens in our community from actually working with and discipline the police officers assigned to this area. So it is a piece of legislation they're pushing forward that will be May, so that if a municipality says, no, we don't want to deal with it, we want the county police to do it, that's great. But it'll give the police departments or the chiefs of police in the municipalities the option of setting up their own review boards. So that's an important thing going forward. MML dinner is Cecil Harford chapter dinner is this Thursday night at 6 p.m. And finally, the Tourism Advisory Commission will be meeting this Wednesday at 10 a.m. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. Business from the CP.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. I want to start off with some Warrior Proud moments. The girls, since their last meeting, the girls varsity and JV volleyball teams beat Joppatown, varsity winning 3-0, and Joppatown winning, and JV beating Joppatown 2-1. The girls varsity soccer team beat Rising Sun 1-0. Our boys varsity soccer team notched 3 victories, beating Perryville 3-1, Hereford Christian 5-0, and Aberdeen 6-2. The boys JV soccer team beat Aberdeen 4-0. The boys JV volleyball team beat Hartford Tech 2-0. And our boys varsity football team beat Northeast at the homecoming game 42-0. I want to say congratulations go out to Bobby Wills and Gia Gastia, who were crowned the king and queen at the homecoming game. I was in close proximity to Fred and Julie, and I tell you, you couldn't wipe the smile off their face. What a proud moment for them. Last but certainly not least, I attended a viewing for Coach Brooks, and to the surprise of no one, it was a great turnout. Mr. Mayor, everyone was touched that you allowed the viewing to take place at the old Havre Grace High School gymnasium, which Coach Brooks played and which Coach Brooks coached. What a great way to send off a very special Havre Grace alumni who was an outstanding player, teacher, mentor, coach, and a special friend to many, many people. I've said many times before, Coach Brooks found a way time and time again to put Grace on top. And Mr. Mayor, I think we could all agree, having that viewing at the high school gymnasium was just the right thing to do. Thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Council President. Appreciate it. Council, we're going to go to item 18, which is adjournment. I have a motion to adjourn this meeting. Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilman Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn City Council meeting of October 18, 2021 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 8:53 p.m. Take care, everybody. God bless. Happy Halloween. We'll see you in November.